Hey everyone, so I'm getting some more HellBreaker uh, editing in, and my goal is to today I want to try and flesh out at least the basic structure for the outside area and the exit area. And I've taken a few days off from editing to play lots of Overwatch and finish up my Fallout 4 binge. But I'm back in full force now, and I will be getting this in place. So one of the things that we talked about in feedback reference to the current build of this level right now is that there's kind of a fear that the player, like he agreed with my fear that the player would end up just sort of falling back to this little doorway here and never really actually fighting any of the bad guys toe to toe. See, the game is supposed to be kind of a bullet hell sort of a situation. It's supposed to kind of be like it's supposed to be a lot harder. So today you'll be seeing me really ramp things up on that front. I want to try and start getting like the really difficult stuff in place. See, the thing is though, the difference between challenging and just unfair, the player should always feel like it's the player's fault when the player loses. Like, oh, I did something wrong, or I wasn't paying attention, or there's a monster behind me, I had no idea. Oh man, like it should feel like it's your fault in sort of that kind of sense, right? So anything you do that's not like that is going to end up feeling cheap, and people don't like that. But I think it's perfectly within reason to be able to come up with a scenario here where I mentioned in the last video I mentioned Dead Simple from Doom 2, which I'm not mistaken that is map 8. Was it? Yeah, I think it was map 8. It was like the end of the shareware version of Doom 2, or at least if Doom 2 was supposed to have a shareware version. So, with that in mind, I'm setting up a drop down. I like drop down because it indicates to the player that, oh, hey, this is I can't go back. Like, it's automatically conveyed. It's not a mystery that's going to confuse people to the idea that this is a one-way path. I actually hate using one brush for multiple surfaces like this. See, I really dislike brushes. I think they should have died a long time ago, but they've just stuck around. The only time brushes have an advantage over just building geometry, like Max or Maya or Blender or any of those tools, is that if you don't have access to Max, Maya, or Blender, that's the only time brushes are better. Like, and we've gone so many years of game development have gone by, and I swear to you right now, like, we've never stepped out of this primordial soup of fucking geometry. I mean, I don't know, whatever. It's just gonna be what it is. Oh well. Alright, so I am doing kind of a test right now to see what I can get away with in this outside area. I just basically added an extra hallway here and kind of increased the size of the room a little bit. Added a dip in this main area here. I'm just going to fill the area up with monsters to see how it feels, and then do some things like that. There's another thing that I'd like to request, and whenever and this is something that a lot of you guys would probably be really interested in, is instead of a God mode, when it comes to testing, putting the game in God mode is actually kind of a bad thing. There's this type of God mode that I've only seen Valve do before. I can't remember how when they did it in the past. I believe it was for Half-Life 2, like a long time ago. But basically, instead of God mode, you're invulnerable, but it still tracks how much health and ammo you use, and it allows those values to go into negative numbers. And I'm gonna request an hex to provide that as a type of god mode. And what that does, as a level designer, when I'm testing the level, I'll be like, oh, I'm negative 20 shotgun shells after I beat the map. I can like look and see how much health I need to add to the level and how much ammo I need to add to the level, simply by running through it without having to have placed any ammo at all. And it gives me a really solid idea of like, yeah, I mean, that's that. I'm repeating myself already. I promised myself I wouldn't repeat myself over and over again like I did last video, I think. Or something. But yeah, like, I really like that mode. I thought that was brilliant. How come everybody's not doing it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because a lot of people aren't working on these kinds of games, like these types of first-person shooters anymore. It's usually just, you might as well have infinite ammo in most first-person shooters these days. Run from hallway to hallway, room to room, kill the same scripted guys over and over again. It happens like way too much. But yeah, like, if all God mode did was just give me a way to track my health, like if I have 100 health and I took 300 damage, I would see negative 200 on my health bar. It would just read negative 200, and that would indicate to me that I need to add at least 300, maybe 250 health to the map, depending on the difficulty and whatever. Like, that gives me so much information, and I loved it. Valve really, sometimes they just blow my fucking mind. They come up with these really, really, really awesome, subtle little things that a lot of the time people probably don't even pay attention to, and then they just leave it at that. It makes me sad. So yeah, I'm just gonna fill this area out with some bad guys. And yeah, all right, here goes. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what it takes to kill. All right, if this doesn't make it choke, man, this is gonna be pretty fucking sweet. If I can get that many bad guys, the shit's gonna be on. I mean, the shit will be seriously on. It even looks weird. Look at them all. All right, and then the other thing I wanted to try and do was get a couple of rocket shooting guys up on higher ledges, and a couple of strategic spots. So I'm just basically gonna drag out a couple of shapes for those guys, just to be basically standing on. Actually, just last night I was reading some feedback some of the people over on Doom 2 World had for No Rest for the Living, and I was kind of thinking about that in context of what I'm doing right now with HellBreaker. One of the bits of feedback was that it was too much focus on polishing the gameplay and not really focusing on making an environment that felt like a place, and I like guilty as charged. I definitely can see that criticism pretty well. Like, I wasn't even really, I don't know. And that's kind of funny too, because the Squibbins, the person that I worked with for No Rest for the Living, we both very much follow that mindset of like, make the block mesh, make it play good, then worry about how it looks later. Like, gameplay before fucking art. Almost to an extreme where it's like if Squibbins and I ever worked on something again, you can almost guarantee that the areas would kind of have that feel to it. It would be like just building specifically to make the game play, and worrying very little about how it would, whether or not it's a real place with a story. And I guess, I mean, that has its that has its drawbacks, like, because sometimes you need these weird boxy levels to look like some kind of an actual place there are people who enjoy that, who like being able to see, oh, you know, this is the refueling base or whatever, and have something that kind of looks like a refueling base. Not to say that a refueling base in Doom 2 really looked like a refueling base at all. It's just, I mean, at least some effort, right? I don't even know why I'm covering this. This is totally not needed for this test. But once I have an idea of how much it's gonna take to choke this fucker up, then I'm gonna move forward, trying to figure out how to like get a good encounter. See, a good encounter places the player in sort of a scenario, not so much just a room with bad guys in it. I don't like the idea of just having a room with bad guys in it. I like having a you lead yourself forward a little bit, and you kind of, you see this jump down, you realize that there's like dudes over here, you gotta kill this guy, and like something like that happens. Alright, let me try one more of this. See, the thing about these guys that are up on these higher ledges, I have to be really careful about how I do this, because currently speaking, there is no actual scripting that I can make use of. I don't have any Lua, I don't have any blueprints. It's just me in the open road, trying to make these kinds of encounters. Alright, get 2 or 3 of these guys up here. I think 2. 1 here. Give you a 180 rotation. Hit apply. There you go. I'm gonna put another one of you here. Hit apply. Well, I don't have to hit apply anymore. And then it's kind of funny too, because I haven't had to use like the keyboard and arrow keys to actually like look around since Radiant, like old school Radiant, feels very much like Hammer. It has a lot of the same quirks as Hammer. But in all honesty, my opinion, and I've said this before in previous videos, and I guess a lot of you who have watched my previous videos would probably, here he goes again. Call of Duty Radiant is the king of brushes, and I have yet to see anybody dethrone them. If any of the new Call of Duties have their tools released, hell, even COD 4 still blows the shit out of everybody else. Hammer is actually a piece of shit. I know a lot of people are gonna probably be like, Hammer's like the greatest thing ever made, man. No, not even close. Not even close. COD Radiant is the bomb. Like, they should fucking like license that shit so other people can. Well, I mean, again, we're still trapped in this world of fucking brushes again. Anyway, let's see how this works out. All right. So it was pointed out that these windows need to be glass. Obviously, some kind of a material or something like that. These guys can hear me. Wow, my shot actually like woke those guys all the way up, all the way over there. Okay. Fucker. Now, these boxes are just confusing the AI. I'm gonna have to probably change that. Whoa! Yeah, this is not what I wanted. Alright. See, the problem is most players are not going to jump down. I'm adding another starting room, and I'm gonna put like a little sort of like you start here, and there's a little bit of a staircase that kind of leads up a little bit, and then you open up the door here, and that's gonna make it so that you can get the shotgun, and it trains the player to have to know that they have to press E to open a door. I know this is a subtle detail that in the grand scheme of things, probably most people won't even realize that's what I did, but it will help because I don't want people getting stuck here. There's no indication that you have to press E to open a door. So if there's a room with a weird looking thing like this, which doesn't currently really look like a door, I'm going to go ahead and just be like, alright, yeah, like, I'm obviously in a small space. There's no places I can get lost. I get my first weapon, and I have a chance to kind of like get used to the controls, and then I can open up the door eventually by figuring it out, and now everything can begin. So now you know everything in the first room that you're going to need to know for this entire demo, and it happens without having to deal with combat. It's just a good thing to do. I like that kind of subtle training. I don't like tutorials. I don't like all that junk. It'll be effective enough to get the job done. It's nothing really crazy, and I imagine unless you watch this video, you probably never even know that's why I did it. But that's pretty much it. Also, I added the staircase of you going up because to me it's symbolic of this being a challenge. It's just sort of an expression. A lot of people, when they see a staircase that leads upwards to get to where they're going, it means that they're climbing. I don't even know if that fits in a category of like overall game development. There's no, it's just something that I'm putting in there for because stuff. I use stuff a lot. Alright, anyway. Alright, so I have a pretty good idea on the full flow of this, and you'll notice that this area out here is fairly populated. I'm running into an error at the moment. It's probably something that's really easy to fix, or maybe it's something that I did wrong that's causing it, but I can't playtest this. I was able to playtest it a few times and get an idea of this combat. This sequence is actually pretty deadly. So I've done a bunch of stuff. Now I already talked about this new starting room. This is a ramp right now. A lot of these ramps are going to become staircases, stairs and stuff like that. So immediately you grab the shotgun, you come up. There's these guys here throw fireballs, but they act basically pretty much like imps from Doom. And you have these guys that are basically just kind of like zombies that kind of walk towards you. Take a lot of them out. This is a lot more combat action oriented than the previous build. You go down here, and you'll notice that instead of armor up here, I put ammo and health. And off in this direction on this side, I put 2 fireball throwing guys, some kind of a hellhound and a zombie guy off to the right. There's some armor and some more health, and I should probably put some more shotgun shells or something like that. So basically, you're getting armor on that one side there. Maybe a little bit more ammo. Now, when you go a little bit further after this part, I've done a bunch of stuff. Notice that there's no chain gun here. Well, one of the things about the chain gun is that, or the minigun, is that it's really good at long distances. And to better craft the next combat area, I don't want to give you a weapon that's effective at longer ranges. So when you come to this doorway here, you're greeted by these guys who basically shoot rocket launchers, rockets. They have splash damage. They're pretty nasty. They're not super friendly. And you have a guy over here, but you can't really, I mean, you could kind of peek out, you'll be able to kill these guys. Maybe these guys are already going to be like kind of wandering towards you anyway. But pretty much the vast majority of the enemies are not visible. This is like what I was talking about in the previous video. So one of the other things about players, not only do they have a tendency to move towards the enemy, but players also move towards loot. And I'm giving you a deal that you cannot refuse. You basically open the door and you're doing all this fighting and you see all this loot just sitting down there, and it's stuff that you're gonna want. But not only that, you really don't want to be where you are right now because you're getting caught by splash damage. These guys have a height advantage, so any of those rockets that hit the wall behind you, in fact, I might even make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, I might actually decrease the size of this platform a little bit so that you're not really in a very good advantageous area. You can kind of fall back a little bit if you want to and kind of like shoot like that, but most players are just going to be like out here and be like, fuck, this sucks, I'm getting rained on, I need to get off this thing. And oh, look at all this, well, look at all the shinies, look at all the shinies down here. A lot of players. You know, it's actually going to be kind of funny because while like I'm saying all this stuff, like we watch videos of people playing, which would be hilarious actually, is to see like how people are like, chain gun, and they'll jump down. They give up all their advantages at this point. And the other thing is too is that they're moving forward. I'm creating a scenario where you're probably low on ammo. Maybe you have enough shotgun shells. Maybe you can kind of take these guys out. But for the vast majority of these bad guys, they're around the corners. Okay, so you jump down. And now immediately, you got this guy, you got that guy, right? This guy is a charger. Basically, he's a big dude who just comes right at you. And if you grab the chain gun, you got those guys, you got another charger. Okay, you can't stay in this spot anymore. And especially if you're kind of a player who rushes a little bit, now you got to be dealing with this guy up here. You're probably going to find yourself trying to circle around this pillar because you just don't want to be in this spot. And then boom, you got all these guys. So now you're like you're in hell, right? Basically, you're just emptying as much ammo as possible, firing at pretty much everything, and maneuvering around as much as you can. Hopefully, and having fun because this is not a regular fight. Well, actually, I think it's going to be a pretty regular thing in this. I think this is a lot of difficulty for like a first level, even in a game that's supposed to be a bullet hell. So now this is a jump down right here, right? But let's keep in mind that you know some players like to be able to backtrack or come back. I might turn this into a secret, but right at the moment, um, the current idea is that it just lets you circle back around and drop down if you want to. So maybe you can grab the armor that you missed, or maybe something like that. All right. So what do I have in mind for the following area? Okay. The overall map itself is 3 main areas with some like extras stuff here and there. So there's going to be a doorway here. If you go further, that'll take you into see this floor. Like that kind of just marks the size of it. So basically you have the starting area, which is one chunk, but I don't really consider the starting area a crafted, like, I mean it is, but it's not a major point. It's just sort of leading up to this major battle here, and then you do this big fight here, and you have a doorway here, and then you have an entrance here that takes some stairs up or whatever. I don't know exactly where I want to put the floor height here. So this area here is going to be like a bunch of, like a big storehouse or something like that, sort of like big tall, like a tall ceiling and lots of boxes and kind of open space, and you kind of just navigate through it, right? Coming in, you're going to have to kind of circle around, and then to kind of get through to here, there'll be like a staircase that goes down, and then here's the exit area, and the exit area will be a evil exit area that kicks your ass, like it's a final ambush. I want to try and have like I have an idea where it's going to be like when you open one door, it opens up multiple doors. So like as soon as you're in this area, you press E to move something down, or move the door out of the way, so like it opens up for you. It actually opens up a whole bunch of doors, and then you end up doing a whole bunch of fighting, and then the exit happens pretty much right here. Now the neat thing about this is that it fully follows the sort of Romero horseshoe design. You start here, and I may actually even go as far as to have windows sort of peeking into the next area. Like from here, if you look over, you'll be able to look down there. And if this supports multiplayer at some point in time, I'll even allow like having a switch that you can flip that opens this up so that you can circle fully around, and it'll be like a deathmatch level, a very Doomish deathmatch level. Now you probably noticed that a lot of the areas right now are pretty under detailed. It's because I'm blocking them out before I'm getting gameplay and flow in place that I want to test before I go as far as to actually begin arting this out, which may or may not include putting meshes or stuff like that. So that's going to be it for tonight as far as me working on this. This was a pretty good night because I got quite a bit done. I wanted to work on Saturday, but man, I've just been so enamored with Overwatch. That damn game is ripping my soul. Well, and again, every game that I play rips my fucking soul. It drives me crazy. Well, anyway, big crate area leads to thin hallway, kind of creepy spot. Room with lots of doors on the sides, a final ambush, and then exit switch. And windows overlooking into that area, maybe a window here that kind of looks into that spot. And I'll pretty much figure out how to get it all set up. And that's that. And there you go. That's where it stands so far. I'll see if I'll put it up for download and everything like that, so that NHEX can understand what's causing the crash, and we'll be able to move forward, and you'll actually be able to see me playtesting this and getting my ass kicked. Alright? Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more, because there'll probably be a lot more of this. This is very fucking fun. I have to say, like, I like doing this kind of stuff if there is people who are like, man, if we only had a level designer to do our Quake style or Doom style first person shooter, fucking hit me up, because I'm probably, fuck yeah. Alright? Because this is fucking awesome. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more.